Hello guys, right, today's topic I really want to talk about is medical cannabis. Because a lot of people, it's benefiting. And there's also a lot of people out there that are against it and stuff, which I respect, like everyone's opinions, it's all thingy. But a lot I've noticed as well is when it comes to the talk of medical cannabis, it's always because of all the bad, like, propaganda and stuff on cannabis and the way it's been used, obviously, by people, like, on the streets and stuff. It's giving it a bad name. And because of that, and people, like, I'd say ignorance, they, us as humans, we like to, instead of, looking at the bigger picture, we decide to, like, what do you want to call it? We, I don't know, say if one individual is smoking weed, you know, just, recreational use. And he's using it, just to chill out now. But he's, I don't know, say if he's, like, into gangs and, stuff like that. And he's causing trouble, he's a drug dealer, he's breaking laws, whatever, doing all that. Then suddenly seeing people, as soon as they think of weed or cannabis or whatever you want to call it, all they can picture is criminals. And it's easy for people to judge. I mean, I was a cannabis consumer, but I was never a criminal. I used to do it because I used to like the feeling, because I used to, everyone's probably had it when you're growing up and stuff, you're young and stuff, and you get into drinking, because, you're 13, 14, 15, I was probably a bit young, I was probably 14, 15, I don't know how old I was now. I was into drinking all the time, getting drunk, coming home all the time to my parents, trying to, pretend not to be drunk and stuff like that, it was all just part about being a child, I guess, just, being a bit of a, bit, I don't know, just being a savage, I guess. And, like, then I got introduced to weed, because I did my research. I wasn't one of them sort of people, which a lot of people do, when it comes to smoking and things like that. People tend to just do it because they think it's cool. Well, with me, it was a different story. I did the research and I realised it wasn't what I thought it was. I just went ahead with the sheep and just judged on it, like, I even had one of my friends turn to me and says, like, if any of my friends ever smoke that sort of stuff, I'm disowning them, I'm not going to be friends with them. And back then, I was like, well, why is it illegal then? It must be illegal for a reason, the typical stuff that people say. But then I became so clear. Obviously, I researched it, found out it was all lies and stuff, and I tried it myself, and I enjoyed the experience. It was nothing like drinking. It was nice, it was relaxing, plus benefit, no hangover. And that should be a wake-up call there and then, shouldn't it, really? Like, if I'm not getting hangover from this stuff, then fucking, sorry about swearing, but, like, surely it's not doing any kind of harm to my body. You know what I mean? It's not destroying cells, because that's, and obviously you get a lot of judgments. I mean, everyone knew me as, like, I was an occasional smoker and stuff like that. I went work, I've never, left work. I've always went to work, I've never called in sick. I've always been, a person around society. I've always done my part. I've never been a bad person, never got called a criminal. So I just find it disgusting, really, how people can judge on a huge scale, like, just because a group of people seem like troublemakers or what you want to call it, because they smoke weed. It's not the weed that makes them a criminal, it's them just being an arse, you know what I mean? It's like, there's a load of people out there that get drunk all the time and they're abusive, they're aggressive, they cause trouble, there's a lot of things around that, but you don't say all drinkers are like that. Like my nan or my dad drinks. Does that mean he's aggressive and he's abusive? No, like, that's the thing I don't like about the way we look at things. We just don't see the bigger picture. That's what I'm coming across. I know I'm repeating a lot, but it's a big topic that I just wish people wasn't so ignorant towards. And it's not just, obviously, there's a lot of things that we're ignorant towards. Like, any kind of truth. If you've been brought up around, say if you got brought up to believe in God, I'm not moaning about anyone that's religious, I respect anyone if it's in that, if it's what makes you you, good on you. But, like, things like religious, if I was brought up in a religious family, I would have been believing in God, and someone tried to tell me different, my ego would have struck, and I would have been defensive. It's the same sort of thing. Like, people just, they get brought up into a world where you're forever getting told that, cannabis is bad, it's a drug, stay away from these drugs, it's a class B, it's class C, shall I say, blah, blah, blah. I think it's class B, actually. But yeah, it's all this, all that. And then you end up getting that stuck in your head, you're stuck in your own illusion, your own boundaries, and you end up becoming trapped in a box of society's rules and things that you can't think for yourself. Like me, I was always the sort of person that I couldn't just sit there and go, oh, it's illegal, oh, is it that? Okay, that's that. I was the sort of person that if I seen something positive in something, I wanted to look more into it. So, for years before it even blew up as medicinal cannabis. Obviously in other countries it probably already was, but because I did research, but I'm in UK. Obviously you can probably tell by my accent. But it wasn't really a big thing over here, like CBD, hemp seed. It was all quiet, it was hush hush. It wasn't much on the news, anything like that. And, it's taken this long to figure it all out, or just to get out there. I've been researching this for years. As soon as I knew there's a massive chance it actually kills cancer cells, and obviously it doesn't work for everyone. I'm not going to be in denial about the negatives and stuff and things like that. Like, I ain't saying it's perfect, but, it works to me. I'd say it's better. It's a counter effect to chemotherapy. You have chemotherapy, that makes you ill, and then I've seen stories where people get told they've only got so many weeks to live, and then suddenly people tell them about medicinal cannabis, and they take it, like, illegally as well, just for their own health. They take it, they break the law, just because they want to live. And through doing that, a miracle happens, and their cancer's completely gone, or their tumour's completely gone, and then it's a big story in the headlines, and obviously they're the news stories you hear now, and obviously people using it for seizures, and then you obviously get them stubborn kind of people that will be there like, yeah, well, I think it should just be used for that. Just for that. It's just like, look in other countries, we're behind. Like, why? Why do we have to be told what we can and cannot put in our body? If you abuse it, at least you ain't gonna die. If you're a stoner and you smoke so much, you're gonna get some mild anxiety probably. But then you need, if we're getting educated on this stuff, if we're actually having, say we had pharmacies put in place, like, so you can actually go and get prescribed cannabis, like, from a natural pharmacy, where people can tell you and educate you on it and say, right, what's your problem? Like, and then you say you're struggling to sleep, you've got some anxiety issues, you suffer from a little bit of depression or even bad depression, then they can advise you to the right one. Like, they can say, right, yeah, we've got this stuff, this works wonders, and it helps you and stuff. Make sure you take this doses and start off with, because obviously if you're taking loads in one go and it's your first time, you're going to be out your face. Like, but you ain't going to get hangover, I'll tell you that. You might white it or something, that's horrible, but it's only for a couple minutes, not fucking a whole day. Oh, sorry about language again, but you know what I mean. Sorry I'm a bit stuttery in that. I mean, I ain't done this in ages. But, like, it's just one of them topics I could talk about all day. It's just one of them things, like, say if I knew nothing about the laws, knew nothing about the plant, knew nothing about any drug. Like, I wasn't brought up in a world where, we judged everything and we just give it a label and that's that. And say if I came across cannabis and someone just threw the information in front of me, would it really seem bad? I mean, literally, you've seen what it can do, the benefits and, the positive things it actually does, and you look at the little negatives on weed, honestly, is probably a lot less than, or definitely less harmful than you have in your ibuprofen or your flipping, any kind of paracetamol, aspirin. At least you don't die. You can't overdose on weed. Like, I just find it sick how people can, like, what do you want to call it, they moan and judge on this plant and say, no, it should stay illegal, stay this, stay that. It's just like, like, the fact is, the problem I see it as is we're running out of time. There's people out there suffering that want, they want to live the best quality of life. And the only way they can live that fucking can't get my words out now. The only way they can get that quality of life is by consuming cannabis, to make them feel better. Or just feel comfortable to live, like, just so they can think it. The one thing I learned with cannabis, because I'm the sort of person that likes experimenting, and I used to struggle, I still do a little bit now, but that's because I haven't smoked in ages now, like probably like a year. But I used to suffer really bad with social anxiety, and, I used to always, because I came out of so many bad relationships, I kept getting cheated on, and I was really low, really, really low. And I thought, in a way, I felt really cursed and blah, 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 blah. I just felt cursed and horrible all the time, every day. And obviously, my friends were there, and obviously, so if I didn't have them, I probably wouldn't be up as well. But, like, consuming cannabis, it made me appreciate the little things. It made me see clear, because it gives you that space and time to relax and just think about the issue in a clearer scale, if you know what I mean. Like, I could actually relax, and I had that time just to sit there. I used to go to, like, some place and just a nice scenery. Me and my mate used to go out on, like, a nice hike into the trees and stuff like that, into a nice walk in the backfields, and we used to just smoke, have a laugh, play music, look at funny videos or whatever, chill out, just talk about deep stuff. We used to talk about the universe, you know, like, we came up with this one thing, like, we started saying, like, do you know them things people say, like, if God's real, what created God? Things like that. And then, you know, it made me think, like, if I didn't smoke, I would never have used my brain. Like, I'm more curious about things now. And it never brought out anxiety in me, because I can use it correctly. I didn't just use it because I thought it was cool or wanted to chill out and stuff. It's so... If used correctly and you're in the right mental state, it can do such wonders. Like, it's mad. Like, I don't know, it's just like when you see a normal, typical person that goes out on the weekend drinking and stuff, they're usually very ignorant and they're very closed off. Like, whenever I've talked to any stoner or any person that ever smokes cannabis, they all seem to be very laid back, very calm people, very open, curious kind of people. You can talk to them about anything and they'll just have a laugh. They're not serious, they're not all offended all the time, because it, like Bob Marley's quote says, like, weed connects you to you. It really does. Is if you're going on, like, a spiritual journey and something, like, you want to connect to yourself and find out who you are, find out your gifts, like, weed is a very good tool for that. I don't know if that's because it's another reason why it's illegal, maybe because, you know, it's opens your mind up and it makes you curious and start asking questions instead of having answers for everything. Like, I don't know. I mean, that's one thing I did notice about it, because I used to just consume it because I used to like the feeling, but then me and my mate realised the connection we felt with the plants and life and everything. It sounds crazy to people that are judgmental and ones that are all trapped in a box and society freaks, you know, the sheep. But at the end of the day, like, it made me feel more connected to my surroundings. Like, whenever I used to smoke, we used to sit there and just look around and we used to look at the plants, hear the wind, and whether it was raining or whatever, and we used to appreciate it. It felt good, like, just thinking, like, it is crazy, like, how perfectly this world is and things like that. And it just, little things that little details that you don't really think about, that you're just ignorant towards, it just brings out ignorance. It just destroys ignorance completely, and it makes you appreciate life and see things from the bigger picture. And biggest question we had when we smoke was like, why is this even illegal? Like, when I'm drunk, I have less control. Like, obviously I know what I'm doing. I don't get that excuse when people sit there and go, oh, you know, I can't remember what happened last night, I didn't mean blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you can have a laugh, you can do stupid things, but I always remembered everything. The only things I used to obviously space out a bit is when, you know, like the walks home and things like that, you can't remember going down a certain street, things like that. But the biggest things I used to always remember, but the hangover and the numbness it makes you feel. And one thing, the reason why I didn't like drinking and why I switched out drinking with cannabis or weed or whatever you want to call it, is because alcohol actually made me feel quite low the next day. Yeah, it wasn't hangover, because I never used to get hangovers. I was quite lucky. But towards the end, obviously, I used to smoke and then drinks to prevent it altogether. But I never used to get really hangovers, because I used to always eat and drink and I was fine. But I used to feel quite low. And it used to make me feel quite down and just miserable. And I didn't really like that feeling. And then when I went to weed, none of that happened. It felt like I was always in control. And I started meditating and things like that, and it was so clear, I could focus more, and it felt like I was connecting to my thoughts. I could close my eyes and I was just more, I could picture something in my mind in it, because it just gets rid of all that clutter in your brain, and you can just focus on what you want to focus on. So if you are using cannabis, say, to get rid of anxiety, and you're just expecting, like, you know, like you take your pills in the cupboard, pop it, and then, like, yeah, let's just hope it works. It's not like that. Cannabis is the sort of thing, it makes you take control of the steering wheel. You smoke it, or you do it out wherever you ingest it. You take that, and you take control of your thoughts, because everything is done by thought. If you've got anxiety and depression, it's all by thought. It's you. So what you've got to do is change the way you look at it. Find out what it is that's bugging you, and just try and change your perspective on what is causing you this stress. And obviously, some cases it might be a lot more difficult because it could be more of a serious situation while you're down or low, but it gives you so much more control than you had when you're like more fuzzed up. Because if you're just, say if you're depressed and you can't think, and when you do think it's all negative, and nothing can get you out of that situation. But it enhances your thoughts, it enhances your mood, everything is just, your senses are all enhanced, and you can, instead of just having a laugh, obviously you enjoy your moments where you have a laugh and stuff, but when you ever do smoke and you think it ain't helping, don't just think it's helping because when you are high you're happier, and then when you're not high you're not. Think when you're high and think about the things that do make you smile, the things that do make you happy, and focus on that, and it will get you through some tough times. And I'm going through different subjects here, but like I'm talking mainly about anxiety here and stuff like that, because obviously that's my experience. And with me, I was forever feeling sorry for myself. I was always thinking, why is this happening to me? Why is my past so, why do I always get cheated on? Why I just seem cursed? I'll never find the right person, blah, 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 blah. And instead, when I was smoking weed, I realised that I don't know why I was so down, because I was still a good person. Like, I put my all into the relationship. It wasn't my fault that, they did me dirty. And I seen it as, what did I learn from these relationships? And stopped looking at the negative, I started looking at the positive. Like, realised it made me more wise, it made me more aware, it made me more... And I didn't get control or anything. I never believed in that. I hate it when people get controlling, because it's just your insecurities and your problems inside, and the only way you can deal with it is by controlling another person. I had to go for another way. I couldn't control. So I had to focus on the positive, and to get you in that state, you have to stop being stubborn with yourself, and you have to realise that nobody's perfect, including you. So you can't start feeling sorry for yourself, and that's not you as perfect. Because I never cheated on anyone. I've always been there in my relationships, and they've always done me dirty. But I looked at the positives and what it did to me, and I learned from the previous relationship when it comes to the next one. And another big thing as well, if that's the case with you, don't look for love. Don't search for it. If you're getting mugged off all the time, stop rushing. Just, if you're a smoker as well, just chill out. Look for the positives, what you've learned from it, and just be you. And focus on yourself. Focus on becoming a better you. Just focus on everything that's negative about you, and try and change your lifestyle. Like me, I went from eating junk food, not being able to sleep, to suddenly actually, sorting that all out. I actually changed my diet. I started eating fruit. I started going to gym. I started exercising. I felt great. And I think that's all. I don't know, people just need to see the big picture and need to see it in a different way. And I don't know, this world we live in is we're just surrounded by ignorant and stubborn people. But yeah, I think that's all really I've got to talk about. Obviously, people just really need to stop being so hating. Just stop hating. Just stop. Don't care. Like, yeah, you might have had a bad experience with weed, or someone in your family might have abused it, but, with rules are responsible. You can abuse anything. You eat too many burgers, you'll get all kinds of problems. You'll get obese, you'll get all this. You drink too much, you become an alcoholic, you go rehab. But at least you ain't going to lose someone over weed. At least you ain't going to lose a loved one. And if they do abuse it and they have anxiety problems and stuff, it's not the drug. I mean, it is obviously the drug that's done that, but it's them. At least it ain't, like I said, at least you ain't going to lose anyone. Should be it. Draws the line. You ain't gonna lose them. It's something that you can still fix. If someone's addicted to pills, like, it's addictive for one. Two, I know some of you might think, yeah, weed's addictive, but it's not. It's proven to be mentally addictive. Like if you like gambling and things like that, it's not a real addiction. It's just in your head. And if you're smoking tobacco, then yeah.